Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Rao. I'm coming on, starting a new house in Clubhouse, and also the name of the house is Be a Pal, my company's name. And the topic I chose is kind of very much for me, very important aspect of our life. Really knowing our true nature. The whole spiritual um, endeavor from ancient times to now. You can summarize it like trying to find out who we are, what is our true nature, right? So I'm going to invite my friends and everybody to come and participate in this quest, in this exploration together, what this is all about, what is that we have to do, what is that we will get at the end of it, and is that really needed, or is something just a conceptual thinking? So I kind of wrote a course on this. What is the meaning of this? What's the purpose of this? What are the good effects of it? All that is in that. I kind of published a first brief part of it today in a post in the LinkedIn, and where you can see self-realization. What does it mean? It has an accompanying video I developed today, and I posted all of that in the LinkedIn, my site, LinkedIn site. Okay, I'll be publishing more of the details of it in other posts in the future, in the next few days. But this is like a place where I want to invite people to come and really participate with me. What's going on with their own quest or journey, so that will be usually considered to be very, very, very much important for a lot of people, right? So I hope more people will join me as I go embark on this journey, and as I invite people to explore their own self and their own inner dimension. They don't have to reveal their private stuff, but it is what is that they are able to understand what mean turning inward, identifying with what, and where we are all common. All those things will come into place. Okay. First of all, for those people who do not know me, I am Rao Kolusu. I'm an MD in internal medicine, practiced more than 42 years now in the United States, and have taken easy in the last few years. I used to have a big practice, which I sold in 2019. And I also have a master's in biomedical informatics. So I was working with EMRs and data and all that. But my interest turned towards the uh, ancient wisdom, especially from India, China, and Japan, right? When we study these ancient systems, there were some wisdom hacks that we could uh, really tap into and apply them for our modern life. Initially, it was more like a stress reduction and having a balance and having the taste of a good life and all that that was there. Good life doesn't mean having luxuries and all that. I mean, good life means in the sense of fulfillment for being a human being, all of that. That kind of thing was very important to me. So, hi, Roland. Welcome. So, this is a new series I wanted to start based on that. And it's not like a introversion or self obsession, anything like that, but it's a deep inquiry into what is the real nature of ours and how do we go about it. When you look at that, the ancients really um, turned towards this in a major way, to the extent they said the purpose of a human being or a purpose of a human birth is to turn inward and really know what is our real nature, right? That was their contention, and that is how they shaped their entire life. They had a simpler life outwardly, but inwardly, I think they are much more evoluted than modern man was. So in the sense, the evolution of their interior is multifold compared to what the modern man achieved. In the sense, we have all this science and technology, which gives us wonderful things to live comfortably and maybe safe and all that. But when it turns to inward, many people are nervous, many people are anxious, so much unhappiness, division, wars, and we are kind of harming the planet and all that. So when you look at it, there is a definite relationship of having peace, happiness, and joy within, and not having that within, and then outwardly all those violence, all those anxiety, depressions are expressed. This is why this particular type of looking at yourself, understanding what is the human nature, what it is capable of, beyond the thought and the body. Okay, that is what I was very much interested in. So this is like a unlike anything that I did in Clubhouse or Wisdom app or any of this LinkedIn, so many places I do talks, I do participate in discussions and all that, right? But this is the most important thing in my life, and also what really gave me solace, peace, and happiness. This turning inward and finding our true nature and establishing ourselves in that inward nature, and then working or living the life with a family, with a community, with a country, with whatever we do. It had taken a special meaning once that is there. Is that a mystery or is that something not available to everybody? That is what I want to explore in this series. And if some people who are doing this, it will be overjoy for me to share with them. If they are not doing it, share with them what is that I understood, and where I'm still a student, I'm trying to probe into this. But one thing is sure, when you really understand your true nature and abide in the true nature, your peace itself, your happiness itself, your joy itself. That kind of thing that I was exploring with a lot of people and a lot of discussions. Hi, Sherry, welcome.
Hey, Dr. Rao. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, yeah. This is the room I was talking about in our community room.
Awesome. Yeah, I was looking for it.
Yeah. See, I was just telling why I'm doing this, how important I give this, because turning inward and realizing our true nature really helps us in multiple ways. Those ways are really kind of uh, can be measured. Hi, Crystal, welcome. So Crystal may be busy with her own thing, but I'm glad she's here. So what it is most of the time in the modern life, we kind of peter down to just making a living and then living the good life because of that money or whatever we get. But then at the end of it, we may feel like we are not fulfilled enough, we want more. That is where this inward turning and then really going towards the real nature is very fulfilling. And then the money, the accumulations, the relationship, everything will take a turn that is completely quality, completely fulfill it, even if your external circumstances are bad, or even if your whole health is not good. So I have seen people who were fulfilled like that and who told a lot of things, mainly in silence also. But anyway, my thing is, as I am a student of ancient wisdom, and I believe more than my MD degree or my practice or my informatics masters or any of the things I did really paled out compared to the fulfillment I got when this true nature is touched and then abided in that. So, does that make any sense to you, Sherry and Crystal?
Yes, it makes sense to me because a lot of times we don't take the time to look at what we're really good at and what we can excel at. It's sort of given to us or expected of us. And we don't take the time for that self-reflection. I think we do this throughout life. And it's not until we're sort of forced to sit down and really think and say, wait, was this even good for me? Is this my path? So I agree.
It's like, suppose we go to a movie, one movie once in a while when we walk, and then we're going to go there to have entertainment, that will be very good. But if you are watching movie after movie, see, that's what Somerset Maugham said. If you really pursue pleasure for its own sake, and after a while, it doesn't have any pleasing anymore. That was his quote. I think he was right, because uh, the sensory or synthetic joys that we do go after, they are okay for a while. But then after that, we want to find out what else is there. That is where the ancients really went into inwardness and self-knowledge and self-reliance. These are the words I'm going to. This is not going to be a room just today, but I want to invite people who are in the same quest, like I was talking about, and really go into the reflection and exploration, not according to any particular religion or faith or anything like that, but as a modern person's what makes a sense for us, and also not personal life, but then personal inner quest that they have deep questions. So this is about a room about deep existential issues. What is life? Where did we come from? Where are we going? So I don't want to give them a lecture about them, even though I have been doing that. But I want to invite people to participate in this exploration of themselves and ourselves too. Like, for example, we look at the world as one energy. Only everybody is on one essay. What does it mean? It means, as a human being, as our life force, deep within, we have that spark of life. We may call it light, we may call it spirit, we may call it God or consciousness, whatever. But without that light, the body doesn't seem to have that light, especially when I saw the many patients over the years that passed away. They were having the spark when they were alive, even the last few breaths. But after it's gone, it's completely, the body is completely inert, right? So we can talk about that light. What does it mean? And that is where we are all in one energy. So I'm going to go pretty deep on that, provided they want to explore it. But otherwise, what does it mean, be yourself to you, mean, Sherry? If I can ask you a question like that.
It means being still and really thinking about who I am and what makes me happy. And what my motivating or my driving force is, right? It's not about pleasing other people, but what really, really makes me happy and what my values and what my goals are.
Yeah. Turning inward for me means really knowing what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling to events, how am I responding to challenges in the life. It could be world problems, it could be our own problems, all of that. Being aware of what is our impulses are, what our instincts are, what are all those, being aware of that really helps us to really reflect on them and learn from them and change them next time. So that reflection, how much is done in modern life, is questionable because people are on the run all the time and they are trying to achieve things. That's fine. But what about your inner being? How can you sustain that? How can you be in that and then not be subject to the reactions of our mind or ailments of our body? So that is what you achieve when you really abide yourself in that real being. You know, a lot of people are not taken care of at that level. And that's why many of the corporations are losing people after COVID. After COVID, they realized they are at home, they are doing what they want to do, and they are very fulfilled in serving people or doing some thing that they are pursuing that's meaningful for them. And they were not getting that kind of attention to the being compared to the doing they're asking all the time. So people found, oh, I'm doing all these things, but it's not meaningful to me. So why should I be continuing this just for the few bucks? And then they realize that they have so many meaningful things they can do outside of the job. That's why around the nation, there are so many people are resigning and going to the much more simpler, much more meaningful, much more validated life for them. You know, maybe it is spending time with their family, or maybe spending the time like we are doing with all the people that are trying to create together. That is meaning, right? So that kind of thing I'm talking about. Doing has taken so much preference over really nurturing and sustaining our inner being. So this room is about that, not like saying that all the doing or the producing is bad, but in the process, we are losing our attention to the being, and in the process, we are getting very stressed out instead of really nurturing, caring, and supporting each other. We are ending up in competition and lack of cooperation, and then all the fights and everything happen. The racism, all those things come under that. So this room is about that existential issues. This room is about that nurturing the being and staying in the being. Okay. So, Crystal, you have any comment? Anything to say?
Hello, Dr. Rao. Hi, Sherry and Angela, Roland. Hi, Almita and Claire. It's so nice sitting here and listening to you. I just got done reading your posts on Substack and on LinkedIn, and you inspire me because I need to start a LinkedIn. So when I read your LinkedIn, I said, okay, this is a sign that I need to get that going.
Yeah.
And I love this topic, be yourself, because one thing that I'm really learning right now in life is that I'm learning how to balance the human part of me and the divine part of me.
Yeah.
And how to honor both.
Yeah.
And how to honor the human, because sometimes I have a low tolerance for the human part of me.
Yeah.
Because I love the divine part of me so much that I want to be that all the time. So when the human part of me comes out, it really impacts me.
Yeah.
Sometimes emotionally, you know, and I feel bad about it. So that's really where I am in life right now. I've done so much work to recognize and become aware of the divinity in me that now I have to balance it with also loving and appreciating and honoring the human in me, and being graceful towards her and forgiving towards her. And this is why community is so amazing, because you all make it very easy for me to be forgiving and loving and graceful to myself, because this is such a community of showering each other with love and praise and encouragement. So yeah, that's what I think about when I think of what it means to be myself. It really means the balance of honoring and loving the human part of me just as much as I love the divinity in me. And I love the first quote and first line of your article. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but basically talking about, we choose this human experience so that we can remember who we are. It's almost like the human experience reminds us in the process of it that we are divine and that we are, made in the image of our creator and our God. Yeah. So, but the human part is what helps me to see that and realize that, which is why I have to honor the human just as much as the divine. But it's hard because I love the divine so much. She's so perfect. And the human is like impatient and short with her words and direct and, hurt people's feelings, all that. So thank you. I love this room.
I put it like this, are we limited by our humanness, by our conditionings, by our understandings, or our limited thought? And yes, everybody's thought is limited to what they learned in their family, in their education, all that, right? Are we limited by that, or do we have much more solutions that we can be limitless? This divine thing you are talking about, Crystal, that is the attraction of that. That's unlimited, right? Not limited by our individual conditioning or lack of understanding, whatever it is, right? So you don't want to be limited by your limitations, but look for the possibilities. The possibilities are that you have the divine spark, divine spirit within there. That is what I'm talking about. Abide in that and then use the body and mind as instruments towards that. Then everything becomes much more meaningful. They said simply like this: animals, instinctual, right? They live in the moment, they live with the instinct and all that. But do we human beings who have such intelligence within us where we can remember and we can imagine, right? But then we don't want to be missing the present moment. Well, that is where our mind can take us to the past and then live there and remember the same hurt, same thing that we have. Or we can project something into the future and be worried. But both are limited by our own thinking. But then if you go beyond that thinking, there is that awareness. And once you are aware of your true nature, then you can see thoughts as passing by. This is, Sherry, we're going to talk a little bit about this meditation thing. We are going to have a dialogue about tomorrow. That's where I'm going to lead you to explore that together. Okay. But the thing is, there are so many possibilities. For example, Crystal is leading a community of people towards she's not just hoping only the technology that they learn, that's true, but that is a means for her to enhance their lives. So that spirit is the one where all the people are coming towards her and then joining it, maybe making a living, that's fine. Maybe making a name or satisfaction of learning new techniques, that's fine. But beyond that, they are relating to each other at that spiritual level. That is where the real energy is coming, I think. At least I come and see everybody is a being and we are all in one energy, but we have different minds, different bodies, and we have different capabilities. That's all fine. But essentially, at the core, we are all one. How do you go to the core is to understand our mind and manage that. That's where I'm going to discuss about the meditation, awareness now. So this room is not going to be one day, but going to be several weeks, every day, just evening hour. I will come and spend here, and I will invite people to explore this from there, whatever they are doing, in the spirit of just sharing, not saying somebody is more, somebody is less, not that, but as a friends will explore together. That's the spirit I want to bring it. Angela, welcome. Angela is somebody who is coming to be.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm great. I just came from out in the garden to get the license.
Okay.
I actually come back in. Remember I told you I was waiting for them to get the license from the city. So I just had to pull out that package. And I seen it was on the road, so I came in.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, this is a brand new house I started today, and I wanted to take people in a journey with me about exploring our own interior. What are the methods? We don't have to confide to anybody about our um, past mistakes. They are all really not remembered because we are here and now trying to understand what are the possibilities a human being has, what are the limitations we have. If we want to help with the limitations, yeah, we will provide that, and we will show some of the ways that people talked about. For example, appetite, hungry, people are doing intermittent fasting and all. So yeah, they are applicable for people, but there is one simple way of doing this fasting is don't eat unless you have a ravenous appetite. So that's what I do. I don't fast deliberately, but what I do is I don't eat food unless I'm very, very hungry. That kind of balances physiological routines that you have in your the rhythms, the circadian rhythms we call them. They're all messed up because modern life it takes the work, and then all the work we are doing takes us away from the circadian rhythms that we have in our body. And being like that, you can really enhance your inner resilience of the body and the mind. So I'm going to talk about that too as a physician, as a yoga person, and all that. For example, I am 68 now, right? But I don't take any medications. For the reason, not that medications are bad, but I made my system such a way it doesn't require the medications. It has the immunity, it has the inner resilience by my yoga routines, by my calming the mind, by my breathing, and all that. So by understanding human body physiology and psychology, and also understanding what is the mind has got to do with your body, um, routines, physiology to be. That's called psychoneuroimmunology. That's the branch you must have heard about. So how you feel, how you are psychologically, and how you are neurologically enhances your immune system. So this is all applied by the ancient sciences, but now modern science is looking at and explaining it. That's why I'm actually participate in those scientific things too, because the more we are able to understand and make other people understand, the better for their health is. That's where my physician role will come. So that is what it is. Go for the possibilities, not the limitations.
Dr. Rao, when you get a chance, could I ask you a question?
Sure.
So this is how I've been living for a long time, as you were describing the intermittent fasting, not eating until you're really hungry.
Yeah.
But I'm curious how I should be mindful of nursing a child if that's a problem.
Yeah. See, nursing the child, actually, the milk and lactation, everything happens because of an inner hormonal balance, right? If you are as natural as you are, you will have more of the generation of the milk rather than suppose you are not moody, you are relaxed, and suppose you are eating foods also appropriately, that is holistic foods. Like you can take a journey into that. There is energies, bioenergies in the food and in us. If you are compatible with those bioenergies, then you will be eating only that naturally, and then your inner resilience will be doubled. So I will introduce you to those bioenergies, how to select the foods that have these bioenergies that are, for example, we both are work with our mind and create things and then do. I like I told you, I wrote 50 articles in the last few days, right? So we can use the intellect very, very, very. But then, if the intellect is too much, then you can't sleep because you don't know how to calm it down and all that. Then what's called V type, or Vata type, that is aggravated in you. That's not natural. The three types of biology have to be balanced. Once you understand that, then you will choose your foods much more intelligently, and then you will relax. You will really calm yourself down to. Then your physiological process, including the lactation for a new mom, I actually recommend for my patients. So they come for the prenatal checking, right, in my clinic. I used to recommend to them, at least 1 year of lactation of milk, mother milk should be given to the kid, because that is shown to be very, very good for the immunological part. So we used to watch these very poor people in India, that they were physically working, they were robust women, actually physically, and they had a lot of milk, whereas the women who were educated, who were working and all that, they cannot produce enough milk, so they have to ask them to come and feed their babies. So we have seen that, we have studied that why it is. So it's all a question of how healthy you are, both body and mind, and how healthy your hormonal system is. The psychoneuroimmunology also tells you, according to your psychological moods or according to your nervous state, you're too much afraid, too nervous, too agitated, then that will affect your physiology. So the more relaxed, the more you are enjoying your motherhood, the more you are with the kid, the better your milk production will be. So, but then once you understand what is a nutritious meal, that is vital energy, that's another thing too. People don't understand what is the vital energy, why people have so much vital energy. That's why they won't get any infections, or even if they get it, they get over it. For example, it just happened yesterday and today. What happened to me was, I have a dumbbell fell on my foot, and there is a scratch. It did not completely pull, just touched it. But then that opened a small area of redness, right? And then the redness, after 2 days, it became too big. So that is cellulitis, that is the infection of the skin layer, right? But then because it stops the blood flow and all that, because it swells, right? All the signs of inflammation were there. So yesterday, I was very feverish and all that. But then what I did was, I did not take any medication. I just kept it high, and then heart fermentation. And then I started to do my own yoga things and all that, right? Then today morning, it has gone down completely. Otherwise, you have to use antibiotics, and those antibiotics interface with your vitality. So we don't put up with some things, then we will lose this internal resilience. So basically, this is what it is, Crystal. Normal rhythm that is produced by our hunger is, you eat early in the evening, right? When you're hungry, eat, and then you go to bed. When you get up in the morning, naturally you have good appetite. If you have regular sleep cycle and all that, right? And then you eat, and then you work through the day physically. Don't eat any snacks. Don't, because we complete our eating by introducing this taste element, and then making that sense dominate us. Okay, we allow it to dominate through our functions, to our social activities. We made food as a pleasurable thing, right? And that pleasure can be understood, can be distanced, and then you can also pay attention, is awareness. What is that I'm eating? Is this nutritious? Does this give me vital energy at the end of it? There are heavy foods, like if you have a mashed potatoes, rice, and all those heavy foods, we kind of feel sleepy and all that. Whereas if you eat good fruit, of seasonal fruits, and then relish them and eat them, 1/3 of your stomach will be filled with saliva, because you are eating slowly. Okay, so if you are eating very in a hurried way, you won't have that. So all these intricacies I will go into, but basically maintain your diurnal rhythms, which is very good for your vitality inside. And we can do a master class on this, Crystal, in the community if you want. I'll be happy to talk about this and give some practical suggestions for people. But basically, how I do it is, I get up in the morning, and then I do my exercise and all that. Then I have the good breakfast. That's the main meal, right? All things can be eaten at a time. Basically, the fruits, the salads, the nuts, the protein, if you want light protein, or any of those combinations. But I prefer what is the nature giving me for the season, not this traveled food from Kenya and all that. I go to the local farmers market and get things from there, or we grow stuff at home. But it is up to you. But whatever it is, what is the food I'm bringing to prepare is what we have to pay attention to. Half the battle right there. Suppose you bring foods that are not grown with chemicals, insecticides, and fertilizers, and all that, that has that natural organic material which gives you vitality. Nutritious is that, of course, if it is tasty and all that is fine, but then if it is tasty, don't get addicted to it, combine it with other things, then you will be okay. Then there's so much conditioning we make food with all of us, right? So we have to understand the condition and get back out of it, but we stick to the body's response. They say, hey, I'm very hungry, I have to eat now. Then eat, and take your time and then chew it and then eat it in comfort. And you can savor the food too. And then don't eat anything in between, so that people are unconscious of what they're eating. The nuts or snacks and all that. Don't Snacks are not really good, And then lunch, light lunch, and then you can have some mid-afternoon snack or something, and then in the evening, very light dinner, and then go to sleep and things will work. Actually, in yoga, there's what's called ekabhukta. That means yoga people, they eat only once a day in the late afternoon. That's it. But that's the day lifestyle. That's fine. But then if you are a householder, it is prescribed in yoga, eat twice. Okay. But if you are something different, like 3 meals a day, and then also all the snacks and all that, that kind of spoils our natural physiological diurnal rhythm. That is first hunger, just to satisfy the hunger with food. Food gets digested, assimilated, and excreted, and again the hunger comes. But the more you facilitate these processes, starting from the content of the diet, all the way to the producer of the vital energy. Tell me, what is the vital energy most produced by? What is that produces most vital energy? Just not a test, just I'm playing with you guys. There's okay. Uh,
So wait, can you ask the question one more time?
What is it that increases our vital energy the most?
Is it something internal or something external?
It could be anything. Just what is it?
I'm gonna say it's the sun.
Okay. Okay. Crystal, what do you think?
I think for me, the sun does it for me in the air, beautiful weather. But what really does it for me, especially when I'm in the winter months and stuff like that, is communication, community, people, other vibes, their vibes with my vibes. That's so energizing to me.
Yeah, I think you both are right. But then, if you take the gradients and if you take the people who lived and then who kind of showed us the way, is about the breathing that we do, how deeply, how much we do in the complete day. That is the one which gives us the most vital energy. Of course, you need the glucose to break it into ATPs, but then you need more oxygen for the ATPs to be formed. So what we have is we cannot eat a lot of food and expect that to be giving all the energy, but it is the deep breathing. Because the yoga lifestyle was examined, and then what we found out was they were not having homes, they were not stationed themselves in a particular place, they were moving from place to place. They would carry a small vessel that for the water, right? But then they periodically, and then the breathing is so scientifically evolved at the time. I was amazed at the things I found out as a physician, what the deep breathing does. Even for me also, I do deep breathing most of the day. That has become like that. So if you start deep breathing, and then what happens is your diaphragm going down, more of alveolar space is opened up, so that more of oxygen carbon dioxide exchange happens. The surface is there, right? And now the oxygenated blood goes to the demanded side because you are exercising or walking, whatever, right? Then the metabolism itself gets a boost because you are really oxygenated blood, very, very good for you. So it's as simple as that. But there are so much intricacies there. But basically, we can breathe shallow, we can breathe consciously, or we can just say unconsciously. Most of the people breathe shallow and unconsciously, but they don't think that's the mechanism. It is in their hand. They can increase today, right now. In Hindi, there's a abhi karo, abhi pao. That means you can do the deep breathing and immediately get the benefits. And then the more you're going, it is like a muscle. Suppose you are doing 5 pounds today, we have to do it 10 pounds later as we get the strength, right? Like that deep breath also is like a special skill and special way of your body. So the more deeper you are practicing on a daily basis, most of the time people may do in the morning when they are exercising or they are running and all that, and then maybe later in the evening at best. But then I teach what's called 1 minute break every hour, no matter whatever you're doing. Okay, even if I come and participate in your rooms, lots of times I'm listening. When my turn comes, I speak, right? But in between, if I'm listening, I just casually do a few deep breaths and then let it go. I taught my son, if you are driving, if you are going to work anywhere, if you see a red light, when you stop there, just try some few deep breaths. All these physicians I'm training on the burnout, I will definitely tell them first to breathe in the morning video, 10 different exercises there. I show them. But in the during the day, take 1 minute break in the meetings or anywhere and then do the deep breathing. And that increases your capacity to breathe more. Maybe, Crystal, you can do in your rooms. Ask everybody when you are resetting the room, just give a couple of minutes and ask them to deep breathe and see how they feel. I hope they won't feel that I'm crazy. I'm telling this, but I think that's a very good thing to do, right? So that's a simple thing. But then there was a course by one yoga master. He's very popular in here in the West. He had like 13 million people following him, and his name was BKS Iyengar. And then he introduced to us an existing course on breathing, which is 352 weeks. So I said, "Oh my God, what is in there?" But then taste of some of those things that he was talking about. That's where I don't get tired easily. Energy is what I call ever renewing energy. That my energy renews and goes. Not necessarily connected with the food, but with this deep breathing. That's the other thing is the deep breathing cuts down your thinking. You can observe that. Suppose you are thinking a lot. A subject is there, you're teaching somebody, fine, that's good. But then some people, they just allow this unconscious, repetitive, constant thinking going on. And that is aggravated by this information overload now. That's why I talk about this all the time. Even though I'm the informatician, I know the side effects of this information age. I know the good effects, but also the bad effects. One of the bad effects is if you don't breathe deeply, you cannot arrest that continuous thought. They both are connected. So taking the deep breaths in the middle of all these meetings and everything keeps me personally no brain fog after all the meetings and everything. I still will be fresh after that. That's the secret. I'm just sharing with you my personal thing. Okay. My friend Kate is here. Iris is also here. How does that feel? That deep breathing thing? Is that crazy or?
No, I've read a lot about it. I haven't practiced it, but I have definitely read about it. But I need to put it into play.
Yeah. It's in my wellness club in the morning. That's what I focus on: stretching and being in the present, but deep breathing alignment. Sheikh, you want to say something?
Yeah. I've always like breathing is like I was had an issue because when I came out of the Navy, I had like sleep apnea. So I had to start learning how to breathe, like make sure I take deep breaths during the day. Yeah. But it also is like, helps me, stay level headed. Like breathing is, I think the definition of breathing was like spirit. That's being spiritual is breathing. Yeah. Because without your breath, it would have no spirit.
Exactly. So, exactly. Yeah. Actually, there is a. Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no! All I'm saying is I'm here in this space as a listener and observer, man. I'm just soaking it all in. Yeah. But I appreciate what you're saying tremendously. It helps me navigate. So I thank you.
The sleep apnea was a very common thing that I used to see in the clinic, especially the truck drivers. And that was important to deal with them because they can pose a public hazard, right? If they are sleeping and falling asleep at the wheel, they have problems. So some of them were sent to us just to help them because they were not aware of it. And we have so many measures that we used to do. But the thing is, most of these men, mostly men came to me, they were very obese. And that itself is one of the reasons. And then they have this short neck, protruded abdomen, and that makes them diaphragm is pressed down and they breathe very shallow. And also the upper area blockages are there. So many things can be rectified by understanding how to reduce their weight and how to be alert by this deep breathing too. So I used to do all sorts of things, sleep studies, and then later on they make it so much easier for us to give people to wear the things. They can go home and then in their own night they have to record, and then the recording was brought to me. I read it, and then I will do the appropriate action. But most of the time, the weight was very, very big deal. So I used to make these truck drivers, when they stop at a truck stop, I used to ask them to go around the truck stop several times. And that itself is a good exercise. And also, there are exercises sitting at the wheel you can do to relax yourself and also to have some kind of joint exercise that I used to teach them, which are very simple, and they were incorporating all these things. First of all, they were not feeling sedated anymore. They were not feeling uncomfortable anymore because they are getting more oxygen to them and more deep breath and all that. So that all helped. Then they got hooked on that, and then they were able to do more stuff to lose their weight. There are so many things we had to do, all the way to bariatric surgery, to the pills, to the exercise, all the sorts of things we kind of use it for them. And that is an epidemic anyway, the obesity, mainly because the lifestyles that we lead, we don't pay attention to them. We just indulge in those behaviors that make us slave to those habits, and then that becomes a problem. Yogic lifestyle, why I promote that is, it involves moving the body all the time and keeping the mind silent. They are very knowledgeable people, very scholarly, but then their intellect is so sharp, they were able to use it with balance. So the intellect won't be a problem for you like it has become for us in the modern age, because we cannot stop that. So all these issues are there, but I'm going to take one by one according to what interests people and what they want me to talk about. I'll be talking in this room. So I'm committed to that. I'm committed to showing some, not that they have, everybody has to do the same, but at least, for example, this breathing, if it is picked up and if it is reduces some of the nervousness, some of the anxiety, some of the imbalance that we feel in regular life, or people react to other people very quickly, that goes down. That is something I deliberately teach my physicians is you got to be responsive to your responsibility, to your task, whatever you do, but don't react emotionally for every little thing. How that can go down is with the deep breathing, you have parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest system activation. That is the relaxing system. Versus we generate this sympathetic overload by reacting negatively to every small thing. I saw that in Clubhouse. People come and argue and fight on small things, very trivial things. They just want to be proving that I know better. This is what you have to do. That kind of ego coming through, right? But people are nurturing, who wants to help you to grow and all that. They won't do that. They will give you the room. They will give you the express yourself and all that. By the way, I see that with the Crystal's rooms. That happens all the time, Crystal.
I would say about the deep breathing.
Yeah.
Is vital for me. I'm asthmatic, and so believe me, I definitely understand.
Yeah.
What happens when I get breathless and the fogginess that goes through my mind and in my body. And it's one thing when I take a regular breath and stuff like that, but things don't clear up for me unless like have my hands over my head and I'm able to expand my lungs to the fullest capacity and take deep breaths in to be able to just really get myself ventilated to clear my head and to clear everything, because it's just hard.
Yeah, Almita, the asthmatics, what are called pearls of Laennec. They are we all have these throat secretions. We want to cough them out, right? But in some of the asthmatics, what happens is those mucus plugs get dry and then they get closer together and they form what are the pearls of Laennec. Like kind of firm things. They block the airways in so many ways. So hydration is very important for asthmatics. And also, if you are using these preventive treatments, whatever the albuterol we give, the bronchospasm is relieved by these agents. We use this normal saline and then let them inhale that. That will go and really liquefy those pearls of Laennec. Okay, so do you use any treatments for your asthma? Nebulizer?
So yes. So mine is more seasonal and emotional.
Yeah.
When I get really stressed that I can't catch my breath.
Exactly.
And then it really things start swelling and stuff. So I have a nebulizer.
Yeah.
I have my emergency nebulizer, but I'll be honest, I usually go from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Really, my emergency inhaler. I wind up because the best results is with the nebulizer.
Yeah.
So, but I don't use it as often. I don't use it as often as I used to because whenever I feel I can't breathe or breathe right, I stop. Yeah. I make sure I stop because I know where it'll go.
If I may suggest a couple of things, try this, okay? One is that I told you about responsive versus reactive. Understand that and then bring it into your daily awareness. That's one thing. I'm sure you will do that. Second thing is, use the nebulizer, but don't put the medication. Put the normal saline and then let the mist go in and come out. These days, we are making COVID people or people who are at risk of getting the COVID because they're in touch with people. We advise them to do this mist several times a day so that all the secretions will come out, and then with that the virus also. We should not give a chance for the virus to settle down in the lung pathways. That's why. And then asthmatics, I have special tools that I use in the yoga practice, that will help their diaphragm relax much more, and also their upper airways, that is the nose and nasopharynx and the trachea and all that, we make them clear. But these are very special. It's very difficult to tell you, but then I can show you. If you want, I will send you a link to my Zooms. I think Kate and Sonia, they know, they have been there. You can come and for one class, you can come and learn them and then start practicing. I don't mind doing that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So some of the things I do is like when I get bad, it's hot showers, steam and the mist in the showers help.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
in that helps relax my chest muscles and stop that warmth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You do this with a normal saline, no drug in it, just a normal saline, put it in the chamber where you put the albuterol or whatever the vessel you use them, right? What you do is you just put the normal saline, let the mist come, and then do the mist. That will make you much more aerated within the trachea and the tracheobronchial tract, you know.
Thank you so much. Yes. Sure. Yes, I will do that.
Hi, Kate. How are you?
Good. Great to be here. Sorry I missed the deep breathing exercises, but I'm here now.
Yeah. We did for 40 days what is called calming the mind. You know, in the calming the mind, I taught them a simple exercise. Basically, I told them take time every day just after you get up and also just before you go to sleep. Find a place, though no distractions, and then sit in the chair. Keep your both feet firmly on the floor and keep the spine straight. That's very important. Keep the spine straight. And then close the mouth and take deep breaths. As you take the deep breath in, let the abdominal wall rise up. And then as you take the deep breath out, let the abdominal go inward towards the spine. And then do that at least 5 to 8 times. You know, there are other things that I talked about, but basically this deep breathing cuts down the agitated mind, restless mind, you know, chattering mind. And that silence, I told you preliminary step, but there's a quietude, there's a silence, there's a samadhi, so many things are there. But then at least if you are not doing that, I was encouraging people to do that, you know. That way you can really deal with our daily rush, daily struggle, daily doing. So I see our community doing so many things. I think this would be a valuable addition of tool of being good health practice for them. Hi, Sonia. How are you?
Great. Yeah. Great to see everyone. And yeah, it's a new start, right, Dr. Ram?
Yeah.
Somewhat new.
Yeah, this is about inner self, you know, so it's cultivating. And then I have all these wonderful friends of mine. They came here too. I enjoy their company and what they're teaching me.
Yeah, very awesome.
Yeah,
I'm glad you all can make it.
Yeah. And, but this is going to be.
Of course, talk about Dr. Rao all the time because, you know, how he has helped me. And Kate and I have been in the experience parts, right? So I definitely am grateful. And, you know, the practice, it does take time and dedication. You know, I think for me, it was the discipline thing, right? And to start to do it every day so that way it carries beyond, right? That's, yeah, thanks.
See, the discipline thing is something like what I got used to it, and then I can't miss it now. You know, that's why I do twice a day, every day. But then that experience is not a punishment, but it's more like a revitalizing my energy. You know, that's where you have the body, mind, and spirit kind of aligned. The breath, like Sheikh was saying, the breath is actually, it's called prana. That is the life force coming into you. You know, so if you can breathe with that kind of reverence in the morning and paying attention to it, it will make a change for you. You can experience yourself. You know, but if you say I'm just taking air, it doesn't have anything. But if you say this is the life force, without this I'm not here, you know, and this is the divine thing that's coming into me, and that is the divinity as it actually comes and gives us life and then goes out of it. So what you want to do is, when you take the deep breath, remember that and say, I am not just this body mind complex, but that body mind complex is activated or rejuvenated or given life by this life force coming into me. And that life force is everywhere, in the trees, in the animals, in everywhere. That life force level, that being of ours, is all one. Once we have that, we have no others. You know, maybe we have the personalities, egos, and all those things different. But then once you identify with that being, then you, in your mind, you don't have this otherness. So, like Christ said, you are your brother's keeper. That's the same thing applied everywhere in India also. They say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That means the entire world of living beings is one family. That means we don't hurt the animals, we don't hurt the trees, we don't hurt the fellow human being due to whatever it is. So that really transforms you. For me, the yoga practice is not just a couple of times only, it's a lifestyle. That's what I'm going to talk about. How can you be a yoga practitioner without really taking? I don't practice Hinduism and all that because a lot of Hinduism principles, those people don't even understand why are going to temple, what are the procedures. I explain to my wife. I take to them and I take them to because they want to go there. But then I tell them why the temple is constructed such a way, why the rituals are there. But then you are beyond those rituals, then you don't need to do it. They are a means to achieve your inner spirituality. But once you achieve that, you don't need to do that. But yoga routines are good for the physical health, mental health, and also functioning in balance. And then operating the intellect in balance. Then our irritation will go down, anxieties will go down, and there's a focus, there's a flow that comes through our work. And that is very, very energy conserving, not depleting it. This is the secret of ever renewing energy. That means you don't want to deplete your energy by doing so many things that we do. That is what we do from morning to evening. We deplete our energy with unnecessary thinking or recollecting something happened emotionally and living it again. All those things that we do unconsciously, but there are means to understand that and to be objectively aware of that. Like thoughts are your objects. That is one thing. Our thoughts are our object. Is they're not an intricate part of us. They happen to us, but we, who is having those thoughts, is that awareness. Be in that, then you manage all these things much easier. Is that too much? Is that something? I don't know. I'm just rambling on. Ask me some question, then I'll respond appropriately.
I'm gonna say I think what you're saying is amazing. It's necessary to talk about the basics of what a human needs to be, optimal, right? Sometimes we get so busy doing things we forget to take care of ourselves, which is a big thing for me. I gotta make sure that you gotta reflect on a daily basis, give yourself self-evaluations. So you know where you're at and what you could do.
Crystal mentioned
to have dreams, but you also want to reach the finish line if possible.
Yeah, Crystal mentioned something about being human and then dealing with our divinity, right? What it is humane. That is being the basic human being with the heart, with compassion, with consideration. That basic human, right? That is taken out because we become more of the mind than of the heart. See, in spiritual matters, what I realized was we are to begin with that spiritual heart, and out of that, this ego arises to take care of our body, to take care of our growth in the life and all of that. But then we mistakenly identify with the ego, forgetting that heart. Returning that mind back to the heart and establishing it there, mind doesn't lose anything. Actually, it has the tremendous intellect, tremendous awareness, tremendous memory, and all of that because you are centered in your heartfulness. So that's another room I'm going to do, heartfulness, how we can identify our own heartfulness and then operate from that, not from the intellectual. You cannot be clever, you cannot be cunning, you cannot be shrewd. and all that. But you can be intellectually smart, you can be intelligent, you can be encompassing everything, but your heart is the one which is not just. By the way, lately we found out, this is a cardiology research, right? Actually, before the mind thinks and all that, heart knows about it. I can simply say that. Okay, so establish yourself in that heartfulness where you feel good and I'm doing something for people. By the way, I did a video yesterday. That was the first video I did in video. I think you must have seen that. There's about giving and what is the, all the reactions in the in your mind and in your chemistry, in your hormones and all that. I put it there. Actually, there's a big volume of information on that, but I just put a small thing for the video. I hope you have seen that video. That video gives you the importance of giving and why the giver is the most beneficial of all. But you don't give it just because you want to gain that. You give it with complete heart. That means there is no assessment, there is no evaluation by the mind. Your heart is in it, right? We all know about it instinctively, but then we travel away from the heart into the mind and think we are so smart. It's not really.
I have a question, yeah. Doctor. So as I'm getting older and I'm watching some of my peers and stuff like that,
yeah,
and I see the heart is there and the spirit and everything is there, and then there's so much. They still wind up in depression because the physicality is now diminishing.
Yeah.
And now a position where they are no longer their own person or questioned about their own, especially when they have children.
Yeah.
Like mine is like, you can't do that. I'm like, don't tell me what I can't do. I've been doing it before you were born. But with that part, and then understanding those limitations that are starting to come in.
Yeah.
And then that messes with your mind.
Yes.
And your heart.
Yes.
And I just find that that's such a struggle for people as they start going into their senior years. And
yeah.
I try to motivate as best I can and talk and stuff, but it seems to be, I see it more and more.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm seeing it more and more because I'm getting older, or I'm seeing it more and more because we're not taught how to cope with that.
Yeah, it's a very important point you made, Almeta. Let me explain that to you. See, we are body, we are mind, and the life, the spirit, the light, whatever that gives life to the body and mind. So basically, without this life force, we cannot manifest our body and mind, right? The mistake is when we think body is us, and then it has to be born, it has to grow, it has to degenerate. That's the natural process of this. Actually, body is called jada. That means inert. Without that conscious spirit, it has no way of life, right? So most of the people, they want to be the peak of health that they were when they were young, and they were like a kind of going into the real robust young people, and then they start to lose that. But then a lot of it is by the lifestyles, I tell you, because in yoga, I have this slogan, I kind of promote it in my rooms. So sometimes I remember tell them, but basically that is what runs true. What it is live long, live well, live in joy. Okay? So people who really understand what's the real joy and station there, they can take this inevitable degradation of the body, but they also know how to keep it well and long because they don't abuse it. Modern lifestyles, most of them, they do that because people are continuously thinking and doing only what is comes to them, what's important. Oh, I have to make this money or do this work because I have to get fame or all those things, right? And then they abuse the body in so many ways. And when the body is losing this vital energy, then they feel like, oh, I can take this old body, and there are so many factors, environmental, genetic, and all that. So our struggle is modern medicine is how can we make bodies healthy, right? But then life sciences of the ancients are far superior about keeping us long and well and enjoy. That is what I'm trying to bring this up, because I'm a combination of modern medicine, still modern medicine, so many things I'm working on, but the understanding of life and the energies and everything through the ancient perspective. There is Tai Chi, there is martial arts, there are so many things, they're all based on that, what is called consciousness. That's the life we are talking about. You are removed from it because you are stuck to only one instrument, which is the intellect. And then you don't have the balance, you go all over. So if suppose most of the people who are like that, you can see either they are not properly given the instruction of maintaining this vital energy, or they know it, they don't want to it, they want to indulge in some superficial prayers. So understanding yoga and other things in depth means that you will come back to accept these realities, which is body will go down other, but then you are not affected by it, you won't react to it. So I have seen people, one particular sage, he's very revered, and he had this sarcoma of his elbow. Sarcoma is a cancer that invades the blood vessels very quickly. It's a very invasive cancer. It's very painful when you have that, right? But he was operated by army surgeon, and he refused to have general anesthesia. They were only able to give that requires the general anesthesia. There's a particular cancer growth, right? And then they operated, and he was stationed in the stability of that inner nature, where he is completely dissociated with the body and the mind. So this we know about is the deep meditative states where you are completely silent within, then you are dissociated with the body. Some amount of it I can see in some people, because they say, "Oh yeah, I lived a good life. I don't need to," and then they'll be okay. But then we kind of trample upon this inner resilience by giving too many pain medications, too many addictions, too many um, relationship problems. So many things are there, right? We're not like a harmonious from within with everybody. So we may carry so many grudges. All there's so many factors are there that rob you of the vital energy. Otherwise, old age and dying is a very graceful process. I am 68. You don't consider me old, but if you see me, if I may have some problems, but then I work on them, right? Like I told you, cellulitis, how I worked, I did not take antibiotics. It's a very simple thing for me to get the antibiotics and take it, right? But I don't. So, but I'm an example to my patients, but I don't rub on them. I will go by what they have, at what stage they are. But essentially, those old people, if they do this vitalizing process of moving the body, engaging themselves in service, like helping somebody, and really thinking about the spiritual garden, that kind of spirituality, thinking, not asking to gain more pleasures, more things, but really considering understanding the divinities within us and tapping on that. And then good health principles, move the body, keep the mind silent, and then rest your adequately. And the sleep also, everybody takes sleep every day is granted. You tire yourself body and go and just dump yourself on the bed and sleep. That's not resting, that's not restoring sleep. There is a process for that. I can show you those things, and then you experiment with them. Anything I say, don't accept. Test it yourself, and then see, and then come and feedback me what is happening. Then I can maybe I can show you a different angle, or I can show you my experience, or I can learn from you. But sleep is, how many people spend some time to unwind yourself, both bodily and mind? Do this every day. in the before you go to sleep, the deep breath exercise I told you, do that. And then do a body scan from head to toe. Doesn't take much time. Are there any tensions, any stiffness, anything in my body? Release them with the deep breathing into them. And then go through your mental reactions through the day in a reverse order. And then say, okay, I have these reactions. Are they really important? Because suppose I say something, oh, Dr. Rao said this, he irritated me. Is that important for you to keep in the mind? Otherwise, they go down into subconscious. Then empty that. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. He can think whatever he thinks. It's not trivial for me. Dump it. Suppose that's important that you want to follow up, then dump it in a device or a book and then forget it for the night. That is unwinding the mind. If you do the unwinding of the body and the mind, you will have so much restoration happen. This is something really missing out on a lot of people because there's economic inequality. They don't have the access to this knowledge, or colored with so much religious stuff, and then people are oppressed or taken advantage of. So what we need is humanitarian people who want to serve other people, who want to project like a good combination of real knowledge, that is of scientific and also the ancient. The science of the ancients is different compared to the modern science. See, I am fortunate to be in both. Outwardly, I can study all the sciences, and that's fine. But then there is the inward science. That is where I was bowled over by what they have discovered. So I don't. That's why I don't think the psychiatry and all this is working, because they are operating on the same mind, which is like the thief, and you're asking the thief to be a police officer and solve the crime. How can it happen? So understanding the thought process, its limitations, its uses, and then really spending in that spiritual energy or inquiry. If they are doing that, not the belief I'm talking about, your actual mind has to take inquiry. So if you can do this, aging is a graceful thing. Dying is a graceful thing. That's a different matter altogether. Is that too much? Or
so I'm gonna translate it to my hood, vernacular. So you don't have to pull up every time you get mad about anything. You should just basically put it in your list of reflecting at the end of the night. And if it's important enough, then it will materialize the next day.
Exactly. Exactly.
Don't pull up just because it's hot right now. Like, it's not hot.
Yeah. We kind of reinforce them by recollecting. I see this in the teenage girls, when they come into the office, they sit down there. Most of them, they will be talking to each other, right? But they will be complaining about their boyfriend or about parents, about whatever it is. They think they are kind of really pouring out, and then that will come out okay. But then they're reinforcing that by saying that to the other persons and all that. So that is pretty much we see with a lot of patients also. So we teach them, suppose they are diagnosed with a serious illness, instead of getting on the bandwagon of the thought, thinking or worrying or regretting, whatever, we cannot tell them, be in the moment, face one day at a time, and then don't allow the thought to go, and then just try to reconcile with whatever you are doing, your relationships and everything and all that. And lots of times they find peace with that kind of approach. And then sooner or later, it may not be right away, but sooner or later, our team supports that kind of thing. I have a special thing about um, end of life issues, because I'm a geriatrician in the beginning of my career. And then ancient wisdom also talks about, if you understand death is a transition, not a myth. And so once you understand that, you won't have this grief reaction, which we call it, because if you lose somebody that you are very close to, and then suddenly it happens, then the brain actually goes to a reaction, and it's not good for you. But there is no need for that. If you understand it, your brain won't respond like that. But that requires some education. But you're right, Sheikh. Every day at the end of the night, put everything on the table, like not in your mind. Put it on the table and then sleep, and then pick it up tomorrow morning if you want.
So what's crazy is that's literally how I made it out the military. Like I would literally have to bite my tongue every day. Stay out of fights. And go to sleep. I would do an evaluation of what I could have did so I could avoid it, or what would I do next time. But I couldn't really tell nobody. Because that's the point. The point is everybody wants to vent. So you just gotta figure it out how to manage your own emotions.
Yeah, exactly. The emotions and the thoughts and their career, like they have origin, they have a travel, and they end, right? You got to understand. Otherwise, it becomes cyclical, and the cyclically thought or felt things, they become part of your actual brain cortex. They form their own neuronal path. And the stronger you make those memories, the least stimuli can activate them, aggravate them. So that's why letting it go as it happens and then facing something as it happens, as it is a very healthy habit. In other words, live in the present truly. Truthfully live in the present. That means your attention is completely on whatever you are doing. So this is something I put it in my clinic and everywhere. My wife and everybody gets that is attention to every action all the time. So if you are so attentive, so aware, instead of getting lost and living in the mind, you are actually living the life. Because that's the only thing we know. Past gone, future is not here, but the present is here. But we don't live in the present. We have our own projections or regrets and all that. So living in the present is a big deal. You know? So tell me, how is this thought of me bringing these things, basically attending to our being? Let's say that, okay? Once we have that, then we have different intellectual skills, training skills. Those are fine. But then what about yourself? We take care of everything else outward, but we don't take care of ourselves. That's why I thought that should be focused. And then that's why I took a lot of interest in creating this room and this house and this room. And I want to continue it for whoever wants to come and explore with me. I'll be happy to spend time with them. So I plan to be here every day, at least 6 to 7, or beyond if it is, because in the evening, all my things are done. So easy for me to do this, I used to go around the rooms with several topics because I'm interested in so many things. Education, for example, very much interested. I want people to be trained for the universe, not just the university, even though that university is important too. And then I am very interested in the planet because we are in the extinction. I'm interested in the phenomena of suffering. Do we really have to suffer? And the phenomena of immense bliss possible. Like Crystal named her house blissful house. I liked that very much, because I live in bliss. When somebody asks me, "How are you?" Sometimes I say, "I'm in bliss." It's not something exaggeration. That's the truth. That's what happens. You feel subjectively, continuously elated, happier, no matter what happens outward. That's the thing that anybody can um, have that, provided they know that it is in them and get in touch with that. So Sanya, you have any questions? Usually ask Sanya to our wellness clinic ending. Ask her, do you have any questions?
This could be both Dr. Rao and I'm looking forward to, of course, I know, with regards to potentially and all the teaching that you might, is that going to be the introduction as well?
Yeah.
One of the
Okay. Anybody has any other questions? Alvita, you give me your email or something. I'll send you that link whenever you want. You can text me. I think we are on the WhatsApp group, right? So we can communicate there,
Yes, and I can back channel you also, Doctor.
Yeah. We can do the video on the WhatsApp. Then you can see me, and then I can see you, and I can instruct you what you can do. Okay. For asthma, specifically for asthma. So.
Okay.
Okay. Sherry, Crystal, Sheikh, anybody has any questions, or shall we stop here? I will be coming here. I would appreciate if you also make time to come to this room and make it a success.
I thought this was very informative. I'd love to try some deep breathing exercises.
Yeah. No, just join me, Almeta, when we do that, then we can all do it together. Tomorrow we are meeting, right, at 9 o'clock in the morning, more for me. Sherry?
Eastern time? Yes. The same. Don't we make a room out of that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that can use some breathing.
Yeah. We can do that. Zoom. I'm used to Zoom since 2019. So I have done that so many weekend retreats and all that. But all I did was out of heart. I did not do it as a business. Maybe the wellness club, I put a nominal fee monthly, but that is also many people, they come and they pay me money and they don't come series of days. They want to learn everything in one day. That doesn't happen like that. You have to take it slow and steady, So for me, it's something I do every day, so it's not a big deal, So basically, you got to prepare your system before you go and face the world. Not only the world outside, the world inside of you. That will be like
that. Okay. Yeah. You say 9 o'clock tomorrow morning Eastern time? And we'll do a Zoom?
No. It's 9 o'clock Central time. Sherry and me, we were going to talk about meditation. That's why I mentioned that.
Yes. Yeah, we have a meeting tomorrow.
Yeah. I have a meeting between 8 to 9, but 9 o'clock I will join you. By the way, I'm very punctual for most of these things. It works out like that.
Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. Unless there is a patient emergency, I will try to be punctual. And that's something that yoga taught me, Crystal, it's nice to see you here and discuss these things. And Sheikh, the same way. And I will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock if you want time. Otherwise, Almeta, you want to contact Sherry. She is sending the Zoom link, I think. We can join at the same time. Okay?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
All good. I appreciate it.
Great. I will add you on.
Yeah.
Huh? You said what, Sherry? I'll add you on to the calendar. Thank you.
Already, anybody in the crowd, in the down people, I think we kind of left those people. Anybody wants to come up? I didn't even pay attention to that.
Yeah. This, it's just like I'm grateful that everyone's here because I think, the topic about the self is actually something that is like creating a lot of awareness, especially coming out of COVID, right? Pandemic. I know your room is scheduled for an hour, Dr. Rao, but it seems like it is important to continue. And of course, everyone listening in is getting a lot of value coming into this. So I'm glad to see that, when we do, do a little bit of introspection and ask questions of Dr. Rao, it's the kind of things that we can expect. He's been doing it for of course, the last 40 days, plus now it's going into a little more deeper. So I'm glad you all can, join us. And of course, the club itself or the room itself is Be a Pal. So definitely, like if you haven't received an invite just yet, just tap on the room there and see, and then we can get you in, and so that way you can keep up with when Dr. Rao does schedule his rooms and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But other than that, I think, for me, it's like so many type of meditation and yoga out there. So how do you in terms of like what ones to choose, right? And of course, I know yourself in more of the kind of like the hatha yoga type of practical, right, things. And so how would you explain it to everyone so they can kind of understand when it comes to the inner self, right?
It's a integrated yoga. That means you don't only work on the body, but you also work on your inner self, the mind. And so they were very explicit about that. The understanding is very important. More than understanding, first of all, we have to see what are we conditioned wrongly and what I have picked up, And then once you don't have to change your religion or anything like that. Just to understand like a scientific fact, you understand. And then, for example, the thoughts continuously, unconsciously thought will become your tendencies, your habits. They call them vasanas, tendencies. And then they become ingrained thoughts within you where they have their own lifeline. Even if you don't want to think about it, they will come up, right? So in the meditation, you kind of fry them that is what happens. Otherwise, they go and submerge into subconscious and they come up. So that's why the thing that I talk about is integrative yoga, understanding yoga in all spheres of our life. I am more for the human being, not a particular personality. So if your ego is there, you may get hurt by hearing some of these things. But please understand, my thing is not about ego or want to hurt your ego or anything like that, but help you to transcend ego and touch your real inner being. And thereby, you are what is called atyadika dukkha nivritti. That means extreme suffering also you can transcend by understanding, not by saying, oh, it has happened. And then Paramananda Prapti. That means extreme bliss is possible for any human being. There are 7 levels of happiness. We've spent on the first 1 or 2, like a sensory pleasures, or maybe synthetic joys, like the phone. We're looking at the kid always looks at the phone, but misses the world and relationship, everything, right? So, but there are so many levels of joy, like intellectual joy, like we kind of write something, we kind of create something that is there. But then there is a joy that is perennially there, but it is wheeled over by our ego. So once you understand that, you transcend that, then you don't need things. You can have the things if you want. You don't need real crutches that make you like addictions and all that. But you will be perennially in that ananda, they call it. There's a joyful state. That's why I say live long, live well, but live in joy. That is possible. That is the unfortunate thing is many people don't realize that they get sucked away by superficial pleasures. There's nothing wrong having pleasures once. Okay, you want to be good, you want to have a living, and you want to have some fun. But fun and living are also limitations, right? But you have possibilities of this joy, and that's what I'm talking about. So integrative yoga is one thing to understand. And beyond integrative yoga, this becomes a lifestyle. That is for me. The yoga is what it is. There is a famous poem in the classics. They say, "Yogastaha kuru karmani." First, establish in the union of yoga of your individual soul with the divine soul. The divinity is within you, and establish yourself in the divinity. Go and live your life, whichever way it is. So once you have that, you have the discipline, you have the joy, you have the spirit of giving, And you have the inner peace, basically. Peace itself, not even you produce stress. You are in peace. You are in happiness. You are in joy. Okay. Already, I'm very happy that so many people came today. And Crystal, Sherry, Almeta, Sheikh, we all become good friends now. Sanya had been my friend for some time now. And then she has been coming to our wellness classes also. And everybody else, Lovetta, Felicia, Gemma, Dr. Key, Newell, Thai, Kannan, Krish. Okay. Thank you, all of you, for coming to my room. And I'll see you again tomorrow. If you want to come back, we'll talk about the same thing, maybe a little bit more exploration by you all. And as I will be more like a participant friend. Okay. So shall we close the room now? Yes. Nobody has any other questions or anything. This can be pretty heavy stuff sometimes. Let's make it easier. Let's take simple things and go from there. Okay. So.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. I just introduce a little bit just so you have a little bit of tasters coming up.
Oh, sure,
tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Same time. So that's like 5 p.m. Eastern, right? Around this time, all the time, Dr. Ram?
Yeah, 6 p.m. Central.
6 p.m. Central.
Central. Yeah. Okay. So.
Right, I'm going backward.
Yeah, I think 6 p.m. I can find beyond 7. When I was doing 7 o'clock, I was kind of called for dinner after 8 o'clock. So I didn't want to break the room in the middle. Evening is rather easy for me to do. So I thought I would do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And then I will close.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
And,
yeah.
It's fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
In the morning.
Peace.